Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I am Evil Mike and I have a review for you. This is from Image Comics and Top Cow. This is Saint Mercy #1. A little backstory into this book. I actually passed up this book based on the cover, me not knowing about it. I did not recognize that this is the new Top Cow and Image emblem. There was a lot of reasons I did pass it up. And honestly, the reason I went back for it is because it was highly recommended by Sid Lordley from Spine Ticks. And it was a really good read. The art is stellar. The reason, a lot of the reasons, but it really has to go back into, I'm trying to break, not bad habits, but old habits, right? Recently, up until I started this channel about, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, or not, something like that, I did not really pick up indies. At the time, I was only buying, mainly DC and maybe like 1 or 2 Marvel. I really did not buy anything Image or all the other companies at that time. So indies are really new for me. That's why I'm kind of going full blast, because there is a lot of amazing story and art and lettering and paneling and all kind of stuff. So this was kind of me going back to my old habits, because off the judging, and yes, with comics, if you know comics, you kind of have to judge by the cover. We all know that many comics have some of the best amazing covers, but the inside is a different story. A lot of the times they feature one artist on the cover and it's a different artist inside, or multiple artists, or and that's fine. That's something that's happened since I was into comics. But it was kind of one of a bunch of those reasons on why I passed it up. But not to say it was an excellent read. The art is stellar and the writing is phenomenal. It is written by and drawn by very established people. The writer is John Zuur, and it's Platten, and then art by Atilio Rojo, letters by Troy Peteri, and there you have it, Top Cow and Image. So Saint Mercy is actually a duality tale. It's set in 2 different time frames. It starts out in the Peruvian mountains 500 years ago from current times, and we catch up with Totaliska. Totaliska is about to take on the mighty honor of being sacrificed to one of the Incan gods. This is set around the Incan culture, and we are there with the Incans, going through this. It was a wonderful intro, because it plants different ideas and stuff that you just don't normally think about. Sacrificing and sacrifices in general are always seen as a bad thing. And we forget that some cultures, some religions, some past times, they sacrifice for many different reasons, and some, yes, bad, but on the most part they had belief that in sacrificing individuals, they were protecting the many versus the few, and they were being blessed with bountiful crops, or technology, or what have you. This book does paint that picture, because Totaliska is completely on board with the sacrifice. Not only is she honored, and her life seems so little and meaningless, because she is ready to get to the sacrificial part. She is destined to be the wife of the Incan god that this tribe celebrates. She is not necessarily the first pick. We do see here one of Totaliska's rivals, and really the rivalry isn't out of spite or anything like that. It's just because the other girl is a little more rounded, and she is able to bear children, and Totaliska is lacking in both. The more well-rounded and fattened the individual is for the sacrifices, supposedly in this story, it was a better a sacrifice for that god. It was seen as that the village put gave extra food and stuff for the sacrifice, so it was seen as a good thing. And then, of course, the bearing of children. They're supposed to be destined to be the wife of the god of the underworld or something like that, and bears many children. They will not be the only wife. He probably has many wives, but the honor of being one of his wives is enough. We catch up to the leader of this tribe and his chief wizard, or council, but they do call him a wizard. More like a page or something like that. But he is having a conversation with the chieftain, basically telling him that Totaliska might not be the honorable choice, and that the other girl will be more suited for the sacrifice. And the chieftain just states that it was his choice and the choice of the gods that chose Totaliska, and to go past that would be like sacrilege and that kind of stuff. It even gets to the point where the chieftain has to literally threat his chief wizard to the point of death if he keeps bringing this up to his council, kind of thing. After that point, we just catch up with Totaliska, and she is kind of like walking around the ritual sites and looking at ritual weapons, and really hoping that the ceremony speeds up, kind of thing. She is ready for it, and she knows what she is destined to do. She mentions that she is wrong about some of her thinkings, leading into the end of the story, kind of thing. Then we jump into I think it's Arizona in 1871, and we meet the other main character, which is Mercy. I want to say they might be the same individual character, passed through time, maybe like the soul of Totaliska is now in Mercy, but we haven't got that far yet. It's just speculation. So we meet up with Mercy, and she is being taught how to shoot a rifle by a sheriff in the town. They kind of mention that the town is not as safe as it once was. It's the Wild Wild West, so of course most of us know how the Wild Wild West was. It jumps over to another part in Arizona, and we catch up with the military transporting something down a canyon, and they are quickly met up by bandits. The bandits, in their haste, end up shooting a couple of the military members, stating that that lawmen and sheriffs need to be killed automatically. The military people kind of like freak out, and they're like, hey, we're not lawmen, we're not sheriffs, we're the military, we're just tasked to do this. And between the bandits and the military forces, they kind of come to a deal, because the bandits aren't so hyped up on killing soldiers. They don't mind killing regular people or lawmen, but they kind of honor what soldiers do for the country, type of thing. No one really fails to check the two individuals that were shot in the beginning of the fiasco, and during the peaceful trade-off that was soon to not take place, one of the dead soldiers rises from the dead and ends up shooting one of the bandits dead, and it just causes all kind of chaos. Of course, the bandits don't see it as the peaceful resolution can go on any further, so basically the bandits end up wiping out all the military people and taking what they came for. It basically looks like a coffin that was full of money, but they don't really state exactly what was in there. At that point, the bandits ride off into the sunset. They cut back over to what Mercy is doing, and Mercy is going into a shop and picking up goods, like a common goods store back then. And she is picking up goods, and it's all on her father's dime, and evidently he's got like a store of his own or something like that, because they have credit set up between the two stores. Back in the Wild Wild West time, credit was kind of a regular thing, because you didn't want to carry money around with you, and it just made it a lot easier and safer to travel. There is like this lady that is approaching Mercy while Mercy is in the store, and she starts mentioning, Mercy mentions that on Sunday they will be having Sunday school or something to that accord, and the lady kind of, I would never listen to the Lord from a Mexican, and then Mercy is like, I'm not a Mexican. I was born Incan and from, this part of the Peruvian mountains, and she basically, the old lady kind of scoffs and then walks away, and the shop owner kind of tells Mercy, yeah, some people, don't worry about it. And Mercy kind of has the other way of thinking about it. She's like, that old lady, even though she was mean and everything, but at the same time, those are the kind of people I want to talk to the most, because she is it seems like she works for the church or something of that nature. We jump back to the 500-year storyline, and it is the night before the sacrificial ceremony that's about to happen, and the chieftain is performing his kind of dance to the gods, telling him what is going to be offered up in the sacrifice, what they are bestowing on their gods, why they are giving them these gifts. While this is happening, the wizard is in the background, and he is like, God, this guy is lying his butt off, and basically he is. Even while the chieftain is saying this, they're in the bubbles, it is stated that even the chieftain knows that he is trying to trick the gods, not necessarily lie to them, but he just doesn't have the right tools per se to complete the task that he was needed to. And they just from that point on, they go back to the present storyline with Mercy, and Mercy is heading to the church to, I would assume, greet her father. Now they say father. Now I don't know if that's biological or if that's just because he is a priest at a church. He does look to be dressed like a priest from a church, but I'm not sure if it's biological. But we get to the church, and we find out that the church is being robbed. Not necessarily robbed, but the robber is looking for, salvation at the church. The church is offering it, but for some reason the robber is not getting the point until Mercy shows up. It kind of seems like one of those, bad situations where the robber is going to, have his way with the young, sweet little thing that just walked in. But it does not go that way. Mercy quickly changes the tide on the robber, stating that, all are welcome in the church, that, there's no need for violence or anything like that they'll help and do anything within their power, to help this individual out. That's just the way of God. At first, the robber is very hesitant, doesn't believe, blah, 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 but eventually Mercy is able to convince him, not only that, but able to take the gun out of his hands without him fighting back. But she is doing it for all the right reason. She's trying to heal him. She's trying to learn out what happened. At the same time, she does mention that the father will be going to town to grab doctors and sheriffs, and the robber kind of gets all hesitant, but she just states that it's not for him, that it's for the people that might be still alive in the canyon after the whole robbery thing. There is a brief mention with the father and Mercy about a barn behind the church, and it having some sort of gold, the church's gold or something like that. For some reason, and Mercy even states this in her thought bubbles, that she is making the biggest mistake out of her life, because she stops and goes to the barn to check on said gold, and we find out that she has Incan relics that looks like Totakaliska's headdress that she was wearing, and she states that it has been passed down from generation to generation, and it is her task to protect this gold and the headdress and this and that, and that it also is cursed. At the same moment when she describes that it is cursed, that's when she's knocked out from behind by the robber, learning that there is gold there, and he didn't before, but she kind of led him over there, and he kind of sees this as God showing him a message, like, oh, thanks, I needed the salvation. They jump back into the Peruvian mountains, the 500 years ago, and it is sacrificial day, and the group of individuals that are being sacrificed are walking up the mountain to the spot where the deed is going to happen, and they are traveling with, you know, people carrying the tools and everything. It is stated at the very end that the sacrifice did take place, but she was very mistaken about a lot of things, and that's kind of where it leads you at. It just shows, you know, Totskaliska flying away with one of the Incan gods, or maybe somebody else. They don't state, but we'll have to find out. There's an amazing article at the end from the writer on where he came up with the idea and why he did this, and bro, you don't need to explain nothing. It was good and exactly what I needed. If I had no idea what this book was. Honestly, all I had was cover to go off. I do extensive research when I do my pull list every single week. I read synapses. I look at number one, you know, main stories I'm into, different stories that I might not be into that have a new arc or something. I do research. This was for some reason not on any of my lists, and I look at a different bunch of lists, so that has another reason on why I passed it up. I didn't know anything about it, and I'm not that guy where just because it's a number one, I'm gonna pick it up. There's tons of number ones that come out every week and tons of first appearances. I'm not that guy. I'm into it for the story aspect, period. And yes, art and stuff like that, I love that too, because technically, I mean, every single one of these is a masterpiece. But that's my review. Please like, comment, subscribe, share if you need to, want to. Alright guys, I'll be back with you in a little bit. I'm starting my reading from this week, and I'll be back with you soon. Bye guys. Bam!